I'm not gonna repeat. You think I'm dumb enough to do that? Some reverse.
I really don't. I don't remember.
Fucking what? Peruvian bullshit psychology.
Reverse psychology.
Well, they're on the other side of the world, so it's technically regular psychology.
Backwards. Right.
Yeah. So you know what I'm saying.
Right.
Count us the fuck down, because I'm over this.
3, 2.
I don't know. I'm angry again.
The second time adjacent to right. So I can't
Militant.
count it down. You guys done interrupting me? We good?
No, we're not. We're not done.
All right.
All right, go ahead.
Wait, I can unmute myself.
I know. That's
shit, cool.
God damn it. How long have we been doing this?
No idea. Too long, apparently.
No, not long enough.
Not long enough.
Too long. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Mauricio. I'm here with Ryan, James, and Katie.
Why do you say my name like that?
Because I fucking want to. That's why.
Damn.
I will.
He's got a sassy little attitude right now. I'm not a fan of this.
Sorry to be doing this right at the beginning of the podcast, but my Father's Day gift is at the front door, and I got to sign for it.
What a fucking asshole. Anyway, he's gone.
The greatest part is we get to see Ryan run.
He went flailing away.
Tiny little legs.
Tiny little legs. Just shoving away.
No, he looked like David Luiz.
I don't get that reference.
Mauricio does, though. That's all that matters.
David Luiz.
You say that's all that matters?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah. Apparently.
Now we're even.
Did he already sign? There's no chance those tiny little legs pumped up down the stairs.
Dude, for having tiny little legs, that was pretty fast.
I'm a quick man.
All right, boys. So there's been a bunch of players who've tested positive for COVID. Kansas State, LSU, Bucks, Clemson, and I think some MLB teams as well.
MLB.
Everybody has it.
The Tampa Bay NHL organization. The Phillies.
The
Giants.
Okay, so everybody has it.
Yeah, essentially.
So all of the, as you could have predicted, most of the college players who we can imagine are not socially distancing as they should, and then they get on the field. They're just in too close quarters for it not to be spreading. Mm-hmm. And it's large numbers of teams. Like it's not in quantity of teams themselves, but large numbers of players per team. It's not like one or two in most cases. It's like 40 or 20. It's too
You're
many.
not muted, Mauricio.
Huh?
You're not muted. So why were you trying to act like you were muted?
What? Yeah, I don't know what that was about.
Yeah.
What was it about? What are you talking about?
Right, never mind.
He's in a weird place.
Yeah. Are you drunk, sir?
No.
Did you finally get the antidepressants?
Huh?
Did you finally get the anti-anxiety antidepressants gone?
No, don't need them.
Got that CBD.
I do have CBD. I was gonna say LSU. I think had like 30 fucking players that tested positive.
That's so crazy.
Which is the whole.
It's
team.
supposed to die in the heat and outside in Louisiana. It's cold there.
I just know that there's been this chubby there's been this chubby African American fellow that's been on this podcast screaming the last few months about how it's a terrible idea to do any goddamn sports. Okay, this is stupid. This is so fucking stupid. There's no reason for us to be doing this shit. You see it everywhere.
No,
it's
but
everywhere.
It's different. It's different with professionals than it is with a bunch of fucking college kids. The money invested in those in the players at a professional level means they're probably getting tested every day. There is no possible way that they were testing every day at LSU and then 40 people got it. They weren't doing what they were supposed to do.
So what about the Phillies?
Huh?
What about the Phillies?
They're basically a college team. I don't.
So fuck you trying to cherry pick the fuck out of this to make it fit.
But if you see like Kansas State had a bunch of people, but if you look at like the hockey leagues, for the most part, when one person gets it, they just shut everything down.
But none of them have been at full capacity. All the stuff that's been happening to the college levels because they've been even just doing the voluntary workouts, but still not everybody coming in yet. So it's like we're already seeing all these numbers start happening, and nobody's running at even half of tilt at this particular point.
Oh no, there's gonna be no football.
There should be nothing. I'm telling you, man. When the numbers start really coming back, when they're starting to ramp this stuff up, it's not gonna be. There's no way to contain it. It's too far spread out. There's no way to contain it. And if you're looking at all the numbers starting to rise in all these states, huh?
At what point is it too late?
That's where you got to ask the owners and everybody to keep wanting to ratchet up. I mean, right now you have, like I've been saying, you have a country overall that seems to be okay with numbers between 800 and 1,200 a day, which we shouldn't be okay with. You got Trump, as we record this podcast, as this fucking Tulsa cult rally going on right now, which Lord knows what it is. Those jackasses are doing with no mask on. Like there is, and then you see all the states in which they started doing the reopening around Memorial Day or what have you, they're all starting to spike. And yeah, people are talking about the testing. The testing capacity hasn't increased. It's the positive numbers that have increased. If you're looking at Texas and other places, the ICU numbers are increasing as far as hospitalizations go. There is no way that we can do this in any sort of safe manner. It just doesn't work.
But guess what? They're going to do it anyway because they don't want to lose money.
I think Fauci said that there's no way that like football can come back unless it's like the bubble atmosphere type of thing too.
Yeah,
but even then, it's a lot of players for each team. Like you think about each team has 52 players like on the active roster, right?
Plus practice squad.
Right.
Yeah, so no, it's one person does something stupid and then your whole team is
you got coaches.
Yeah. I mean,
and you have coaches, especially coaches that fall into that category of being extremely vulnerable. So what I'm saying is that what's the cost?
Also,
when the first person dies, what happens? When the first person dies, what happens? Because I'm looking at it as a very distinct likelihood that somebody's going to die. So when that happens, is one life? Do we say, oh well, we could still keep going? Because that's the trajectory that we're on.
Yeah, I mean,
I think they're going to have them all sign waivers.
But what if you don't?
That's what the NBA coaches want to do.
But like, what if you don't? Do you get paid anyway? Do you get
so many holes in this right
now? Yeah, do you get danger salary?
I don't know. I rather they just not do anything than to
shut it down for a year. Like baseball's not coming back anyway. So
the vaccines look promising as hell. They look very promising that we're going to have something. And what you hear what Fauci's saying as far as football is what they're looking at is if they end, the reason that Fauci's okay with the NBA doing it, he's not necessarily okay, but he's saying under the guidelines as far as the way they're doing it is the best possible solution. But it's also because of when they'll end. The last thing that we want is to still have coronavirus around and we have flu season start coming in near the end of this year, which is when football would still be ramping up to playoff time or what have you. And we're going to be colossally fucked. But right now you have everyone from a government standpoint saying that we can't shut down the economy again. Then they're fighting about whether or not they're going to extend the unemployment. We still haven't even gotten a second stimulus check. Everybody's in this sort of pray the virus away, or it's just saying we're not even caring about the virus at this point. And I feel like the crazy person looking around being like, where am I? Why is no one considering this anymore or really looking at it in any sort of realistic standpoint?
Well, I think what's going to happen is you're going to see in Florida, a lot of people's grandparents are about to die because they opened up too soon. And in Tulsa and places that are opening and people are just having parties and going out, not paying attention, they're going to get sick and their friends and family are also going to die. And then maybe they'll start taking it seriously and realize I think people just got comfortable and like, oh, well, I don't know anybody. And yeah, the news is saying 800, but I haven't met any of those 800. And they're just
how many people have died in the U.S.?
117,000, I think, last time I checked.
That was a couple days ago.
Yeah, so it's well over 120.
It's over 120 at this point.
120, yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's just,
That's a lot of fucking people.
It's a shame, but there's stupid people. That's why we can't have nice things, and that's why I want to go to the gym so badly. But
the gym is open around here.
Yeah, it's open here. No, it's open here.
It's open.
Oh, it's weird.
But I'm not going. Are you fucking kidding me?
The parking lot was packed when I went to the grocery store.
I'm in one of the only cities that's still shut down, in Baltimore, because our numbers were still at a significant number. But even you start looking at some of the nursing homes. There was an article I read yesterday about in the Baltimore Sun about the oldest nursing home, or like African American nursing home in Maryland, had 0 deaths, 0 infections. And they said that what ended up happening was back in February when Trump said that there were 15 cases and we're going to eradicate this, the director, I think there was a pastor too, that heard that quote, he immediately said, okay, we're doing the exact opposite of that. So he started shutting down everything. He wasn't allowing visitors. He wasn't allowing anything. And there was a lot of like people's families were very upset. And now they're thanking him because he decided that like, I don't care what's popular or not. I know right now what the right thing to do is, and I'm going to do it. And right now, what you're seeing is there's this, I've been talking about with a lot of people, I don't know if I've said it on here, but there's going to be this rush to go back to normal. And what they're going to start doing is it's very insidious in the way that they do it. They start making you feel guilty or make you start feeling like a punk because you don't want to go out there and risk it. They're going to start making you seem like you're lazy because you don't want to risk your life going back to work. It's a very insidious way in which they kind of get into your head, and they got other people kind of playing that narrative. So now you have everybody kind of on these two sides of things. Are you a punk pussy because you don't want to go out there and risk your life for your family's lives? Or are you supposed to do that American spirit and keep on riding on? It's stupid as shit.
Yeah. But I think once they finally, I know I turned the contact tracing. If you have an iPhone, the latest update that just came out that didn't tell you what it was doing, didn't have any security fix or anything on the tagline to make you download it. Yeah. All it did was download the option for contact tracing.
Really?
But there's still no national. There's still no national.
But they're setting. My point is they're setting up for it, and I think once people start getting indications on their phone, like, hey, you were in contact with 42 people who had COVID yesterday, maybe people will be like, oh, it's still here.
Just like I predicted every other thing correct about what's happening, I'm going to also predict this. The contact tracing and what it is they're talking about, none of it's going to happen until we are way too far down the road. Right now you have the two top leading medical professionals that were leading this entire thing in Dr. Deborah Birx and Dr. Anthony Fauci. Fauci's finally starting to make the rounds on the on news organization or anything. But from what we understand, he hasn't been talking to Trump. Birx and Fauci both told people in the cabinet not to do the Tulsa rally. You see how that went. Then there's not been a national press conference about the coronavirus stuff since May. I think maybe even late April. It's either very early May or late April was the last time.
Yeah, I think it was like the first week of May. He's just like, well, fuck it.
Right. So now we got this dumbass bitch, Kayleigh McEnany, that is out there just spewing bullshit and just trying to get everybody going back. Is she the new speaker?
Yeah.
And I usually don't call females that, but she's a fucking dog. So, like,
she went to Harvard.
She's a fucking dog. Now,
I've never heard her speak.
She's a lying asshole. So
I've never heard her speak.
Good for you. You're better for it. But it's like, we're gonna go too far. Like right now, the best possible scenario guesses are we're at 200,000 deaths by September.
Yeah, by
October,
early fall.
Right. That's if we're following the same trend that we have been following. Right now, when you're starting to see that uptick, I don't know where we're gonna be at this point. Like and then you're gonna have that discussion: is that are we gonna go back to the way we felt in March and April, in the sense of we can't deal with this and we need to do something seriously again? It's like once that box goes off and everybody kind of goes back to normal and they got a taste of it, it's whatever.
I think what's gonna happen is we're gonna do the same. It's gonna be more of a mountain than a curve. We flattened it once. It's gonna start going up. We're going to have to shut shit down again, and then it'll start going down, and that'll probably be in the fall sometime, and then people will be like, oh, it's been 2 weeks, let's go outside, and then it'll go up, and then it'll go down, and that's just how it's good.
I don't know if they'll shut us down again.
I mean, I know North Carolina's talking about it, or they did.
San Francisco, the city did.
San Francisco, I know Florida, and a lot of places is implementing a ton of restrictions again.
I didn't hear about any restrictions in Florida. DeSantis seemed like he was ramping everything up.
I think they're putting stuff in place now after it's probably too late.
He just agreed to have the Republican National Convention and fucking Orlando.
I think it's more for the geriatric population than anybody else. But look, I'm being safe for me and my family. So I realize that there are people out there who aren't. But who I really feel bad for are probably these kids who are playing on these teams who feel compelled, either I play right now or I might not be on this team next week if I don't show up to practice. And that's the bullshit. If the professional players are like, man, I don't want to go, you're probably still going to be okay in the long run. Right. But if you're a second or third tier lineman on Clemson, you're showing up to fucking practice because you have to, even though you're putting yourself at risk. And that's the bullshit.
And I agree with that. But that's the thing, is that what I'm seeing right now is that they're forcing people to go back to have the guy. I just read that Virginia was kicking 12,000 people off of unemployment because they could technically go back to work. They're not looking to see what the medical history is. They're not saying to see what the families are like. They're just saying you need to go back. So they're kicking them off the unemployment. There are a lot of other states that they're starting to do a lot more investigations in the unemployment. You now have the unemployment supposed to run out July 31st, and Congress hasn't done anything to pass another round of everything. So it's like, all I know is that over the course of the last 3 months, the richest people and the richest organizations have increased their wealth an entirely huge amount at the risk of us, the normal citizens of the country that make shit run. And they're willing to sacrifice us. And a lot of us are dumb enough to play into their hand out of fear. When I really want to see people organizing, what I want to see is college students organizing, saying that we're not going to do this. People need to understand the power that we already have. We can tell them that we're not going to be members of this society, where we're just going to play into the cogs of the system again. And you need to make sure that you're looking out for us. I know that there are a lot of small businesses and a lot of places that are doing the best they can. I heard from my mom. She's a nanny. She went back to work. One of her kids they went to the salon. They didn't allow my mom to stay inside the salon with her. Everyone was wearing like PPE, like the full decked out stuff. They're sanitizing the chairs, everything like that. Like, you're doing your best that you can.
That's okay by me. If you have a small business, or if you're, you want to go to the gym or whatever, and you're fully masked up and you're wiping everything down and you're sanitizing and you're doing as good as you can, and you still get sick, that's just bad luck. You're doing everything you can. It's these fucking assholes out here in tight spaces with 15,000 of their nearest and dearest friends because they want to see a fucking orange guy on a stage. You can go fuck yourself.
Agreed.
Because that is putting other people at risk. That is like if you go into a situation unsafe, knowing you're being unsafe, and still choose to do it, then you're being an asshole.
And I think that you're dead on in the part of it that I guess I didn't put enough stock into, because I've been, like I said, my mind has not necessarily been solely on sports as much as it's been on a lot of other things that's going on right now.
Right.
But what you said, as far as there is no better example than them rushing college students back for no pay to make other people rich to go and play this game again. I think that if you wake up and you look and you see this pandemic, the George Floyd situation, the protests and everything, they got a lot of people awakened. The pandemic is what woke me up to what's going on in this society like I always knew, but this is been in my face about how cruel this divide is, and this wealth. They don't give a fuck about us. They don't care. Because they can sit at home. I have the same issue currently where I tried to take off or work from home, but I couldn't because the owner of the company wouldn't let me, and he hasn't left his house in 4 fucking months. So
how much do you guys think the NBA wearing those super rings is gonna help out?
What?
First of all, Green Lanterns.
First of all, what fucking goddamn fucking Tony Stark fucking nonsense Like,
don't put Tony Stark in that. This is some sharper image shit that you find in the fucking catalog when you want to play.
First of all, what is it supposed to? What is it supposed to do? Is it gonna detect your symptoms somehow?
It detects whether or not you're showing symptoms for COVID. So like what it does is
fever type
it's kind of like it's like giving everybody a fucking Apple Watch at this point. It's like it texts to make sure you don't have a fever, you're not showing certain symptoms. What it doesn't take care of is the asymptomatic spread. It does it, so it's just about the symptoms at that point. So it's like the same way that when you walk, when the president does his press conferences and they check everybody's temperature using the thermal thermometer. Shut up. Fuck you. Really? Y'all going to talk to me like I got a fucking speech impediment? I'm going to start going off of everybody right now.
No, it just reminded me of, what was his name? He was worrying about like trying to say Southampton.
Oh, Nick.
Yeah,
Thermal thermometer.
Yes.
That they're using to make sure that people aren't showing symptoms. But it does not control the asymptomatic spread, which is where a lot of this shit is happening. Go tell Zeke back in Dallas, fuckboy, if he was around people that had symptoms or not. While he was partying with Dak Prescott, hiring gay strippers to grind on them.
That's the problem, is that's the secondary issue that I have here.
What, the partying or the gay strippers?
No, gay strippers are cool with me.
No, the gay strippers are cool as shit. I'm just stating what happened.
And I don't mind partying either. Like, seriously, that's fine. I don't know how you do it safely for me to not think you're an asshole.
Don't.
But here's my secondary issue with the NBA and also the rest of sports coming back as a whole. I think, and here's the reason I think stuff like UFC and golf is probably okay, is you're not counting on a large number of other people on your team to be as safe as you are. So if you're on a basketball team, there's a significant amount of players, coaches, trainers, blah, 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 blah. If one of them does something stupid and comes back into your bubble, now everybody's at risk.
Right.
If you are playing golf, it's probably just you, your swing coach, and maybe your nutritionist.
Same thing with the UFC, just a couple trainers.
Same thing with the UFC. You have a couple trainers and your coach. So the risk of somebody in your bubble doing something stupid is significantly reduced. Okay. Now, if you have the Daks and the Zekes and probably a number of basketball players, I know there was some Kyle Walker in soccer was doing this early on in COVID. If they're not being responsible, one person can sink that fucking ship. And that's the issue with having, like, tennis. Tennis can be going on right fucking now. Golf. I guess hockey can't.
I thought baseball would be kind of safe.
The problem with baseball is, again, it's the numbers issue.
Yeah,
if you have minor league player, like if you're in AA ball making $15,000, living out in fucking bumfuck Ohio because that's where they sent you, you may not be as serious about it. You're playing a couple games and then you go get some beers at the bar that's open because it's fucking Ohio. And then you come back and then you get called up to a major league spot and you have COVID and now the entire team does. The MLB squad.
Right.
I'm just waiting for the NFL's biological weapon, Sam Darnold, to start making out with high school girls again. Dumbass can get mono. I'm surprised he doesn't have COVID at this point.
Mono.
No, I'm pretty sure once you get mono, you can't get COVID because that's 19 and mono's 1.
You sound like a Trump doctor.
No, it's science.
It's science.
You sound like Kaylee Macanana.
What's her actual name?
Science.
I don't give a fuck.
Let's. Was there a Kyrie Irving update? Because we talked about him last week a lot, but I think something else popped up this week. Is that right?
He said something.
What did he
say?
Go
on.
He posted on Instagram. I didn't read the whole fucking thing because once I saw that many characters, I ain't doing it.
Dude,
but
too many paragraphs.
It was way too many paragraphs, and like at least he wasn't doing the Cam Newton thing where he like types with all the symbols and shit.
How long does that take Cam Newton, by the way? Like,
I'm trying to figure that out, but that shit's crazy to me.
He might have his own, like, you can switch it from like Spanish to English. He might just have his own
keyboard.
Keyboard, that's what it is.
Well, if he does, he needs to spend more time working with an agent to get himself on a team and not fucking doing that bullshit. But all right, whatever. But basically, Kyrie he's come out that what we heard on the phone call is accurate. That he's basically saying that they don't need to play because of the fact that it's not because of COVID. He's saying that they shouldn't play because of the protests for George Floyd and not going back. And I was right. It was Dwight Howard, because I remember I broached that up the last episode that backed him up. And now what's happening?
Bradley.
And Andrew Bradley. There's a few guys that have backed him up on that.
And Lou Williams.
Yep. But Andrew Bradley?
Avery Bradley.
Oh. Avery Bradley, isn't he play
basketball player? Yeah. I think he plays for the Lakers now.
Oh.
I don't know. But it's but now there's also been the back and forth that's happening in the media. So like Stephen A. Smith had his take, Charles Barkley had his take, Kendrick Perkins definitely had his take.
Kendrick, man, what is he doing?
What's Kendrick doing?
Do you agree with what Kendrick, like with all the shit he was saying?
What'd he say?
He equated it to saying like, I mean, he was just basically doing a bunch of yelling and saying how like Kyrie, like he lacks leadership and shit, like because of this reason.
Oh,
he said that Kyrie is the distraction.
Well, I mean, this is the perfect way to put it. With Kyrie, it's kind of the boy who cried wolf thing, in that he's been such a distraction so many times on so many different teams. This time, I think he's right. But
and a lot of other players think he's right too.
That's why KD went for Kendrick's throat.
That's what. But that I can't.
They don't like each other though.
I know they haven't liked each other since the Oklahoma City.
But it's the boy who cried wolf thing. You've been a distraction so many times in the past. Why should we listen to you this time? Well, if you listen to him, you realize that he's correct. Huh?
The players are listening.
No, but that's what I think that's Kendrick's point. Kendrick's just an idiot.
Kendrick Perkins does not know. Here's the thing. I want to like Kendrick Perkins. I've always wanted to like Kendrick Perkins. The more he speaks on the media, the more I'm disliking him. But it's just I stand firm, maybe not as firm as I was last week. Where I was last week, as far as thinking that it is a legitimate way that you can protest, as far as like my fear as far as going back to normal. I'm still kind of rocking that mentality to a certain degree. But after hearing what Charles Barkley, Stephen A. Smith, and all those guys talk, which is why everybody's talking about Kyrie having this basically this bias towards like certain things, or the reason he has his argument. The same way I could say almost all the talking heads on TV have a bias that they want more sports to talk about to keep themselves paid. But that's just me. But it's like, I think the only way this works is if you have – I still think that what this has shown more than anything is there is a crisis of leadership in the NBA. I want to hear from LeBron more. I don't know what LeBron's doing behind the scenes.
Wait, what do you mean?
If the NBA was at a particular point in time where they were about to roll this stuff out, and now you have a contingent of NBA players that are about to follow Kyrie Irving, who has the track record that he has, that means that they didn't have enough people on the other side championing the fact that they were going to come back and get enough people on board. If you're going to run away with this plan, you need to have more of a consensus going around. Whether that's that the NBA didn't have enough coaches doing that, making sure they got a good pulse of the players. If you didn't have some of the top athletes or top stars doing that. I don't know if it's the Chris Pauls and the LeBrons are only talking amongst themselves compared to actually reaching out and talking to everybody to see where it is they are. Because Kyrie, knowing his track record, like you said, Ryan, knowing Kyrie's track record, if I'm an NBA player, I'm taking everything he says with a grain of salt. The fact that he can have that much of a thought process and to get people to change their minds on something speaks to either the messaging being extremely strong or Kyrie being able to do something.
I don't know if he had them change their mind, but a lot of talk that I've heard was that a lot of players were already skeptic of doing this shit anyway, and they were just afraid to
Don't talk about the Corona stuff is going to be something that everybody's kind of talked about, right?
No, I'm saying like they were scared of talking about not playing.
Yeah, well, and honestly,
that's leadership.
If I was in their position, the leadership would be, don't let them know our next move. If we're going to do this, it shouldn't be on sports.
It is disruption.
It shouldn't be on Sports Center before we decide to make this decision as a unified group.
That's my thing.
And I really hope that that's the way this is going. And like I've had this discussion actually with a couple of my buddies at work. Is that if you I'm very surprised, and I'm being completely sarcastic right now, that the NBA had a plan or came together with most of a plan to get restarted before the MLB. Because if you hear, I mean, Mike Trout, the number one player in the country, and Rob Manfred, the commissioner, don't like each other. They don't talk on the phone. The MLB doesn't try and make their players into stars. Like, Mike Trout is the LeBron of baseball, and yet if he wasn't Mike Trout, I mean, he's in Los Angeles, but like a lot of people might not know who Mike Trout is. Everybody knows who LeBron is.
He hasn't won anything.
The same, exactly, and that it doesn't matter. He's still one of the best players ever to play the game. Yeah. But if on the flip side, rather, is that Adam Silver and the players, they say they text back and forth. Like they have open conversations with the top players. And that's why I think it might be that they are not talking to the press. They're not getting their word out. Maybe they're talking with the commissioner, or maybe they're just talking amongst themselves. But they're trying to come up, hopefully, with some sort of plan internally before it goes out. Because once it goes out, it's probably going to be a collective thing. Once LeBron and KD and Kyrie and like Big Ten are all in, it's kind of hard for the rest not to follow suit.
I disagree. The only reason I disagree is that once again, when I talk about the leadership aspect of things, is that even if that was the point, then why don't you have the LeBrons and everybody talking to the other guys saying, hey, this is what we're working on. We just need everybody to keep quiet. You at least have that conversation.
Would Kyrie also ignore that and tweet it anyway?
I don't know, but you wouldn't have this rush of other players that might have been, like James was saying, either afraid to say something, or that have this, or that do feel this way and they are saying something about it. Like, my thing is that if they are going to do this, like what your guys' argument was last week, is that you need to use this platform. It's the same argument I heard from Charles Barkley. It's the same argument I heard from Stephen A. Smith. I need to know how. And I think that's what Kyrie and everybody's at, is like, if you're going to do this, okay, how? This has got to be more than T-shirts. This has got to be more than us doing a knee. This has got to be more than us playing some sappy fucking commercial before the game starts. Yeah. How are we going to do this and do it the right way?
So maybe
that's what the Williams said too.
And just maybe all the top players got together and they were like, Kyrie, you're a dumbass. You would be the person to say stuff. So we're going to make you the mouthpiece for the rest of us.
No. There's too many players that are backing Kyrie.
No, and that could have been the point. They just decided
you're giving them way too much credit, other than what it is on the surface level.
I know.
I know what you're doing.
Also, there's another aspect that we didn't talk about before, right? It's the young up and coming stars like Donovan Mitchell and Jason Tatum and players like that who are up for max contracts soon. Mm-hmm. Now they're worried about if they get sick at this juncture, how that's going to affect their money going forward.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same thing. That's the Blake Snell argument. If I get sick, I may never be elite again.
There's that.
Just in terms of the amount of money that Jason Tatum and Donovan Mitchell are supposed to get fairly soon can be hampered completely just by catching it. This one season.
It shuts down people's lung functions forever.
Yeah, you could be at 80% lung function, and if you're an elite athlete,
and that could be the max contract.
There's also the fact that if the players decide they wouldn't be able to play, from what I understand, the owners could rip up the CBA.
I mean, these are all risks I'm sure that they are calculating.
I doubt that the owners would want that PR battle. Number one, I get that. And plus, if we're looking at any of the major sports leagues in the country, the most woke would be the NBA, and it's not even close. The power they give the players, the fact that the players are always involved in the conversation, the fact that Adam Silver has done, for the most part, a really good job as far as being a part of everything. He's never criticized or chastised the players for speaking out about the things that they're passionate about. Not to mention, if I'm not mistaken, the NBA also is donating a bunch of money as far as helping out African-American communities across the country. They're doing a lot. But that being said, I just want to know, if we're going to decide to do this, how are we going to properly use our platform? And it doesn't seem as though those conversations are happening as seriously as they need to, as much as everybody's just saying you need to be able to play to use your platform. But if there's not a cohesive message behind that?
Well, I mean, it may just be that they don't agree, but they don't have a plan yet in how to go forward. And I I'm assuming that's what it is, because LeBron's been very vocal on social media forever.
Not about this though.
No, and that
about
may
this?
be
I
why.
haven't heard LeBron talk about this.
That may be why.
No, I'm talking about the like Kyrie and what's possibly happening.
But that may be why.
Like LeBron's still active in the community.
Yeah.
Do not get me wrong about LeBron. I do not think LeBron is doing. This is one thing I don't want anybody to think I'm saying. Is that if LeBron decides that he wants to play, I don't think LeBron's trying to be selfish. LeBron has been there to help people out, without question. I just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing by us and them using the platform the correct way. I am
100% sure that LeBron not being vocal on social media about this doesn't mean he's just sitting around not doing anything about it. He's coming up with something.
But it goes back to my point last week. I still don't think that regardless of how long they think about it, nothing will be as powerful as not playing. That's my take.
And maybe he's trying to get the gears running on that without being public about it. Because if he's public about it, it's the number one thing on SportsCenter. It's the number one thing on Fox News. It's the number one thing on CNN. It's going to be everywhere.
As far as your conspiracy theories today, that's probably the closest one that I have to actually making sense.
Lou was talking about. Remember how you said like you wanted a plan, and that was the same question he brought up, saying like, okay, are we like, what are we gonna do? Is it gonna be commercials like in between games?
Right.
What can we do that's more impactful than just not playing and still being out there at the protest?
And I'm sure that's what they're looking at. What I said last week was take a hard look at both and figure out which is the best, one for your health and two for your message. And whichever one you determine is the best. And I'm sure that's what they're doing right now.
Is that a change of heart? Is that a change of heart from you, James? Because I thought last week you were more on the other side.
I was 50-50, but like thinking like Lou, I really respect like the shit that Lou Williams says. He's like
I was about to say Lou Williams.
Yeah, Lou Williams. He's like a legend.
Could have been Lou Bega. I don't know.
Nah,
Shut the fuck up.
One thing that he said that was very important was just the fact that, okay, if they come up with a plan to say like, we'll give you like guys like commercials like during the game and like halftime part and then like pregame and then exit interviews, he was like, well, that kind of mutes a shit ton of people because the press only wants to hear the stars. What about the dude that's like the fifth or sixth guy on the bench that has a really like bright idea or something like that? You're not going to hear him. Like you think about like Malcolm Brogdon, like leading a protest or something like that down, I think it was in Atlanta with like Trae Young. Like if you look at the media after a game, they're not really rushing to talk to him unless he does something crazy.
Right.
So Lou has another point there.
Is ESPN going to carry every single interview? I know that what I saw from Bradley Beal and John Wall out there in Washington yesterday was more powerful than anything I saw anybody do on TV before or after a basketball game, with them actually being out there in the streets with people, letting them know their stories. Like that to me is like, when I'm looking at the situation, I'm like, shit, if I'm the NBA players, maybe I'm looking at how we take the time that we would have spent during a season of being out there in the streets and doing something else. Or if like, so that's where I'm at, is like protest or doing commercials and everything else is something we've already done and we're still here.
Yeah.
Like that's, so like maybe more of it takes you over the edge, maybe, but it's like, to me, it's, you got to do what you can to disrupt it. And like, I'm for making people upset. I'm for making people feel uncomfortable.
Well,
I think that usually is first change.
Imagine being so close to actually starting the playoffs, and then at the last moment, everybody says no.
And then they just
could be it.
Mass walkout.
What has been my wet dream?
They show up for the first game, and instead of playing, they just all take their jerseys off and fuck off.
What I've been saying for years, what I would love to see is you have two NFL teams the day of the Super Bowl say we're not playing. That to me would just be that's you need that. Like maybe it is like if they the night before everything was gonna go down, they were just like, yeah, the players decided we're not gonna go.
Tom Brady walks out by himself.
After the video of all the NFL players, and they had Patrick Mahomes in that video, that's like the next day, Goodell put out a statement.
Oh yeah,
they couldn't do it
because he if he does that, like he's gonna be the face of the NFL for the next 15, 20 years. Sad to say.
And he drew his line.
I'm glad that he is, but I just wish it wasn't with the Chiefs. Other than that, he's great.
I mean,
yeah, y'all gonna lose a lot of games.
Yeah, to them.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. When you have Patrick Mahomes being the absolute, he is the face of the NFL going forward. And him taking that stand, he drew a line right there in the sand, said, this is where I'm at. You're either with me or you're not with me. This is where I'm at. And he's been posting the videos, and like his girl who's white, she's down with everything. Like it's been powerful seeing what Patrick Mahomes has been doing.
Is it Mahomes or Kyler that has also the baseball contract?
Kyler. Yeah. He got drafted by the A's, I think. I think it was the A's.
Interesting.
Hey, speaking of baseball, the Yankees, when they got caught cheating back in 2017 and all that, didn't something just happen where the judge just ruled to have the MLB letter unsealed?
Yep.
Go on.
I did not hear about this. What's up?
What?
You didn't hear about this?
No. Dude, I'm telling you, I've been plugged into something else other than sports really recently.
All right, so the judge just ordered that the letter that the MLB sent the Yankees back in 2017 about them cheating to be unsealed. And apparently, like, they said it involved, like, how they use the dugout phone or something like that. But apparently it's way worse than that. And
Worse than the Astros?
I don't know about worse than the Astros, but pretty damn bad.
Is it gonna like losing
it'll
first round
impact,
picks back?
Apparently they said that like it'll impact the legacy of the Yankees.
Yeah,
They did not release the letter then. The Yankees are a class organization. They do not need to be disparaged in this way.
Oh no, they're going to release it, and then apparently they said like they need to redact some stuff, but apparently it's bad.
The Yankees,
it's bad.
Yankees and Yankees fans like Patriots and Patriots fans.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Like think about all the great organizations that have been cheating.
All of them. That's how you win.
Don't be upset because the Raiders aren't good enough at it, so they get a bunch of penalties.
Hey, you better give the Raiders some flowers. You seen? I've been posting.
Stop with the flower shit. I'm done giving people flowers. The flowers are dead.
No, give them the fucking flowers.
It's fucking summertime. They're dying.
They're all dying.
We're killing the bees. There are no flowers.
This is not a good time to be talking about shit like that. But okay.
Summertime.
Nothing.
Are you offended?
No.
We wish you were.
But yeah, like
fucking snowflake.
You got give them some credit then. Can we agree there?
For what?
Or you just don't give a shit?
For existing?
No,
for Mark Davis. For after looking at Mark Davis's haircut, realizing he could string two sentences together. Yeah, give him credit.
Yeah.
I mean, he clearly doesn't spend time on his hair.
So he does more than the Redskins owner. I'd say that for damn sure.
Redskins took down.
How are we not talking about them right now?
Why don't we talk about them?
Because they're pissing me off to a very, very high degree.
They took down that statue.
George Preston Marshall, which should have happened a very long time.
Yeah.
I've told you the story of the Washington Redskins here on this podcast before, and how if you're a fan of the Washington Redskins, historically, you're on the wrong side of history. So, yeah, I mean, I get it. I understand. It is an evil fucking organization. It's completely steeped in racism. Maybe even here's the thing that's so fucked up is that. So I'm sitting, girlfriend's right here, and the first thing she did was grab my Redskins hat and start waving it at me. She's being an absolute ass. So, we
like her.
Yeah.
We like her.
Damn it.
We like her.
So,
this is perfect.
She
needs to be here every time you do a podcast.
He said,
I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I saw the Redskins. She started waving the fucking hat. God damn it.
He said,
Wait, let him finish. No,
sorry, go ahead.
No, Redskins, he doesn't want to talk about him anyway, so.
Well, the Raiders put up a tweet that like links you directly to being able to register to vote, which was pretty
nice.
Pretty sick.
I will give the Raiders' social media has kind of been on point throughout this thing.
Yeah.
That's all I asked.
That's the credit you want?
As much shit as I take.
He wants flowers.
You need
I just want you to acknowledge
a couple nerds with iPhones who run their social media account They get the flower.
That's my thing. It's like if Donald Trump gives a homeless person some change, do I give him credit? If Hitler pets a dog, am I like, oh, good job, Hitler, you pet a dog?
Are you really going to say that Mark Davis doesn't have a hand in any of this?
Did you just do this, Mauricio?
Touching my nose.
After he says Hitler?
Oh, did he? I didn't hear that.
Shit.
Oh.
No.
I was just scratching my nose.
Yeah. Keep doing it. Keep doing it, sir.
I didn't do this.
That. We need replays.
I don't endorse that.
Yeah, I was saying I didn't do this. I did this.
Just did it again.
What are you doing? I'm scratching my nose, fucker. That's what I'm doing. I don't know what you think I'm doing.
He's got the broom.
Looking at his facial hair, he has the absolute anti-Hitler. The no hair grows where Hitler's hair.
I have a point. I couldn't be it.
He has an absolute bald spot where Hitler's mustache was.
Oh my God.
He's the missing link.
Missing link.
He loves all Jews.
Mm.
I'm dying. Okay. What are we talking about? What's next?
Let's talk about the Twins removing the statue of the ex-owner.
I mean,
Kadeem, you talked about that, right? You told the story.
Minnesota.
Right?
Was it
about the owner, like the reason why, like they're in Minnesota.
Yeah, you moved to Minnesota because.
I think so. I forget the story. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, there were no black people there. That's why.
It was 15,000 black people here.
Yeah,
that's why.
Yeah, and dude, all these statues need to come down. I'm loving the statue stuff. I'm loving statue. Yeah. It's like statue.
I like how everybody is like, oh yeah, and this happened. Like Aunt Jemima or whatever. Like that's gone. Uncle Ben's gone apparently.
I read the stories behind those, and I mean, I figured that was the case. Like I'm not.
I knew all this a long time ago, and it's like we were like throw the shit away, create something new, but they're like no.
They removed the auction block here in Fredericksburg that apparently weighed 800 pounds. Did you know that?
Dude, that Robert E. Lee statue that they're trying to take down weighs like 4 tons.
Fuck. Down in Richmond, right?
I saw a meme that it was one of those white kid coming out of school with his backpack, and it says, "I got to write a history paper tonight. Gonna walk down to the statues to get some new information."
Yikes.
Like no, but nobody's ever done that. People are like, "It's our history."
I remember what I was going to say about the Redskins. I'm just going to interject really quickly about it.
Okay.
I was going to say the worst part about the Redskins is that legitimately the most racist part about them being the name was actually started by not racial reasons, right? Like every other aspect of the organization is racist as fuck in the sense that we refuse to integrate. We refuse to do a bunch of shit. Just ticket sales, all kinds of stuff throughout history. But legitimately, the name, which is racist as shit, wasn't actually started for any racist reasons. I just find that funny. I don't know why.
Fucking Redskins.
But all the statues coming down are good. George Preston Marshall is a story I tell nonstop about you have a guy who was racist as fuck. Bobby mentioned, like, the Redskins tried to do their dog and pony show today by saying, all right, we're pulling down the George Preston Marshall statue in front of RFK, but what we're also going to do is the first black Redskin, Bobby Mitchell, we're retiring his number, and he's already in the Ring of Fame or whatever else, and it's like, okay.
I have a question.
But they don't play at RFK, and
I don't think it was the Redskins' decision to pull it down either.
And they still refuse to change the name.
I have a question. So, you know, we're talking about like everybody's removing all the statues and shit, right?
Yeah.
What about all the players in the Hall of Fame, especially like in like the top of my head, baseball, and how all them racist fucks from the 50s and 40s and whatever are in the Hall of Fame and are celebrated?
I think it's different. So this is where I get it.
I've said fuck them so many times before.
No, I get what you're. I'm not hard pressed to disagree with you on that. Okay, I would just say that to me, like when I'm looking at the Confederate statues and I'm looking at these statues and these like monuments built to these men that don't deserve it. Yeah. It's different than like even if you're a racist fuck, if you were really good at the sport, you kind of qualify for the Hall of Fame in my mind anyway.
You're being celebrated for something other than the fact that you're
other than whatever personal exactly.
So why isn't Barry Bonds in there or T.O.? Why did it take him so long, T.O. to get in there?
Oh, I crushed it up. So I went on a rabbit hole search for anybody who had better stats than Barry Bonds. I discovered that it is nobody in the history of baseball.
Damn.
He's my favorite player.
And if you look at his stats pre-juicing, when he weighed $140 wet, and his on base percentage was still like 340.
Yeah.
And his last year, where he clearly was not juicing anymore, his on base percentage was like 440. Like, he only hit over 50 home runs once, I think. Once. Like, he wasn't a power hitter. Sick outfielder. He had more walks.
One of the best eyes in the game.
He had more walks in 1 year than the Tampa Bay Rays have had in their entire organization's history.
Barry Bonds is the most frustrating athlete maybe ever because he didn't need to do it. No. He was one of the greatest players of all time already.
But
what the
on the flip side,
but like if everybody else is doing it,
he was better than them.
I know.
He was already better than them.
It's ridiculous.
I never understood Barry Bonds before any of the juicing was one of the greatest players of all time, easily, with no problems.
Card too.
Other than him being a complete asshole to people, he was an absolute monster. He was. You can't deny that. Don't even try to justify.
No. I'm not denying it, but I'm saying like there might be a reason why. I'll say that.
No, look. Pudge
he started off the gate as an asshole.
Pudge Rodriguez is in the Hall of Fame. Pudge Rodriguez was in the same era as Barry Bonds. Pudge Rodriguez was a phenomenal catcher with a 47.5 throwout percentage, which is insane. And that's how catchers are usually judged. Was he juicing? Of course he was. Like, he definitely was.
Like the perception of juicing.
He is but he's in the Hall of Fame. He got inducted in 2017. So
Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. But I still think 60% of the reason Barry Bonds is not in the Hall of Fame is not the steroids, it's because he was an asshole to
and he was an asshole to the people who vote to put you in the Hall of Fame.
All right. So I'd rather have an asshole in the Hall of Fame than a fucking racist.
I agree. But if you're talking about the people that actually vote,
he was
they
an
have
asshole
a personal bias
to the people who get to vote. That's not race-based. That's he was such a dickhead to them that they refused to put him on the ballot.
I don't think Barry Bonds is at all a racial thing, under any circumstances.
Is that kind of Barry Bonds' fault a little bit?
Yeah, I understand that.
He still deserves to be in. I don't think anybody with a mind thinks
he should have been first ballot, though.
Yeah, but
the writers were being dickheads to him, too.
Because this is their ultimate fuck you for him being a dickhead for 2 decades.
It shouldn't be that, though.
I think
that's exactly what it should be.
I actually think
it should be about the play.
T.O. is one of those circumstances where.
Why wasn't Ken Griffey Jr. The first unanimous Hall of Famer?
He wasn't Mariano Rivera good?
He got in before Mariano Rivera.
I know, but he wasn't as good as him. So that's why Mo Rivera was the first, because he's a significant.
That doesn't make any fucking sense. If Rivera retires 10 years later, but Ken Griffey Jr. retired now, and he gets in the Hall of Fame first, if he's that good that he should be the
Ken Griffey's stats are not Barry Bonds stats.
We had this argument already.
That's what I'm saying.
already.
I don't remember.
Look, Mo Rivera is the greatest closer of all time, and it's not.
I'm not saying he's not. I'm not saying he should. I'm not saying he shouldn't have been.
The only argument that I can use.
I'm saying if Ken Griffey Jr. gets in the Hall of Fame in 2010, right? I'm just throwing out numbers. 2010, Mo Rivera gets put in 2020. You're telling me that you're not going to let Ken Griffey Jr. be
because he's already not the.
You got to wait 10 years for Mo Rivera to get in there.
He's not the best outfielder of all time. It's still Barry Bonds.
They're not putting him in there.
No, but that's not the point. He can't be unanimous. If Barry Bonds does get the ballot, he should be.
Who's going to say that Ken Griffey Jr. should not be in the Hall of Fame?
No one.
Nobody. But he's not a unanimous because he's not the best ever.
Mo
Rivera is the best.
What does unanimous mean?
Stop. How many unanimous players have ever gotten in the Hall of Fame? One. That's it. So everybody harping on the Ken Griffey thing. what I would then question is, why haven't there been more unanimous players? I wouldn't single out the Ken Griffey.
There should have been people before.
I agree. So that's my point, is that like the argument about Ken Griffey is null and void because of all the other players that you could say the same thing about. That being said, if there is only one person that gets unanimous, it's hard to argue Mariano Rivera isn't the guy.
I'm not arguing him.
That's the whole point.
I'm not arguing him.
That's it. That's it. I'm saying that the extra ground about Ken Griffey should be the extra ground about why haven't there been more unanimous players. What biases are people having that they haven't had some guys go in?
Well, so
what personal vendettas have there been
or,
that some people haven't gotten?
And that shit is stupid.
I think in a lot of cases, it's not.
On the same page.
Barry Bonds, personal vendetta, obviously. Ken Griffey, I think the point is they have seen players play that position better. So it is impossible for them to make him a unanimous Hall of Famer. On the flip side, 10 years later,
the word unanimous just means if no one's going to say that you're not in the Hall of Fame. So it's a whole thing that they fucked up for the longest time.
I don't think that's how it works. That's not
how does it work? Because I don't know.
I think they rank.
Yeah. So he's not. He would not be first on their ballot.
He wasn't everybody's first.
Yeah. So there's somebody else that year.
All right. Never mind. My point is voided then.
Jesus Christ. We spent 15 minutes on that.
Like when I hear like unanimous, that just means that nobody's gonna say that you're not in the Hall of Fame. I'm like, who the fuck is saying he's not in the Hall of Fame?
Dude, how many?
That's the only reason why I was pissed off.
You think anybody thinks Randy Johnson shouldn't have been in the Hall of Fame? Just be a fucking idiot. Like that's what I'm saying. Is that, like
that's why I'm pissed.
No,
that's what I was thinking.
That's why we're trying to figure out what the fuck is so angry about King Griffey.
All right, cool.
Is there? There's a race. There's one of the horse races today. That's another one that can come back.
I thought it happened already.
Yeah, it did. I missed it.
Don't let it be at Santa Ana.
Parole or whatever was a winner, I think.
It was Pimco? No, what was today?
I don't pay attention.
That was funny.
That shit seems racist to me.
It's such an ASOS staple where like we bring something up and then we just talk circles about it and then we realize that we didn't need to talk about that.
Yeah.
No, it hasn't started yet. It's slated to start in 6 minutes. It's the Belmont. It's one of the Triple Crown.
Another thing that it's going to restart is going to be the UCL. We talked about it last weekend and we didn't really have an answer for it, and now we do.
University of Central Florida?
Yes.
UCL, not UCL.
UCL.
Oh, I thought he said UCL.
Central Florida, yeah.
Florida?
I don't know that place. Where's that at?
No idea.
Is it on the east or west coast of Peru?
It's right in the middle. Yeah. So the Champions League is gonna restart. I believe I forget.
In August.
But
yeah,
the way that they're doing it, it's gonna be just a super fast tournament.
I have a question, Mauricio.
Yeah.
So I think we drew with Napoli 1-1 in the first leg in Napoli. So are they gonna do the second leg in Barcelona or
no,
what's going on?
This is round of 16 already. We're already past the group stages. This is round of 16 now.
The group stages is over.
Yeah,
but it's just done.
I know that, but we're in the knockout rounds.
The reverse tie.
The first leg of the knockout rounds we've already played.
So
it was 1-1 versus Napoli. Yeah,
you'll just play the second game at the neutral location.
That's stupid. Then so then
why?
What the fuck is the point?
Your fans are gonna be at your house cheering you on. Like it doesn't matter where you play.
No, he's talking about that location. I don't think that's a problem.
Yeah, like
I didn't know
we had to travel to their place to play them in their stadium.
Yeah,
and now
they playing in Lisbon.
You guys are gonna be there for 3 weeks before the game anyway because of you guys are gonna have to.
So then it takes away our home field advantage, right?
You didn't have I guess they agreed to it because there is no home field advantage right now.
Yeah, no one's playing home, obviously.
So then,
they also got rid of.
Thing about like the away goals, is that still a thing? Like, you see what I'm saying? It's like we're playing two away games.
It seems really rushed, especially since they want to get rid of or want to get over it in like 12 days. I think.
I really don't think that.
It's gonna be a mess.
I don't think it's gonna work.
It's gonna be a mess because so one of my favorite things is when a team is
that was cool
on the first leg they're like down 3-0 and then on the second leg they come back 4-3. That's gone because it's only gonna be one game, so it takes away from that excitement. It just to me it sounded so fucking rushed. It just sounded to me like they just want to get it over. Another thing that this might be biased or whatever, but we've been playing close to I think 10 games now. And there's been people like PSG who haven't played since this whole thing started. Are
Yeah.
they at an advantage now?
Didn't No, they're playing their Copa,
No.
didn't they?
Nah.
PSG, no.
I don't think so.
PSG, they gave him the title. There was no more league.
No, but they still have the cup games that I think they're playing.
Regardless, that's what 9 more games that the Bundesliga and now the Prem have played. So does that put Bundesliga teams and Premier Leagues at a disadvantage? Because
you can look at it like
Hold on, I
PSG
gotta
will be
close this
cold.
door.
So what now?
PSG will be cold because they haven't played.
Oh, that's another way to look at it, right? Because they haven't been as active.
But I think I also heard that that if they can, quote unquote, play the games in the away stadium for the second leg, they will. But if not, then they'll just be in Portugal.
Yeah, in Lisbon. And yeah, so everything's supposed to be done in like 12 to 18 days, I think. So we'll see who gets the title. I just don't like the way that they messed with the structure. I don't think it was necessary, but obviously they want to bring it back. And while I'm happy
it's the whole
that
like
it's
thing
back,
about like everybody saying it has to be in a bubble, right?
Right.
So
I think, I mean, I'm really happy because it's one of my favorite tournaments, but it's just not the way that I'm used to it. And also, I don't think it's safe.
yeah, that and like you can't even watch it like with anybody. Like you're gonna be sitting in like your place.
Yeah, it's I mean, anyway, I hope that it's as exciting as it usually was, but I don't think it's gonna be. Where did Ryan just go?
I don't know.
Had to sign for another package. His dildo came in.
Well, he is away. Oh, there he is.
Look at that cute little feet
Look at the jog. Look at the jog.
Ryan, did you have anything else about the UCL and how it's going to be played and all of that?
It just doesn't look like it's going to work to me. First, trying to get that many teams into one space and then bubble them out, and then have them play 100 different players within, a matter of weeks. It just doesn't seem logistically like it's going to work. I hope it does. I mean, I really, God, the fucking people. Like, I'm glad Liverpool's going to win next week, so I never have to hear about, oh, well, we had it that one year with Corona. Fuck you. Like, that's a conversation I never want to have.
Speaking of the Premier League, buddy, what the fuck's going on with Arsenal?
What happened?
What do you mean what happened? You know what happened.
2 things happened. Your defense is Swiss cheese. And today, you guys were winning at the 60th minute. I go and take a shower at the 74th minute. When I come back, the game's over and they lost 2-1.
That's a lie. You don't shower.
I'd shower today. Shower only on the weekends.
And then I'm sorry about Leo.
Yeah, I mean, we've had 2 season-ending injuries in the first 2 games. One of them was Pablo Mari, who Mari. Like, he's supposed to be a great defender, and we don't have him. We don't have Xhaka, who is our only real CDM. Like, it's just we're just a bad team. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Guendouzi hurt him?
Oh, Guendouzi choked him out.
Fuck.
Jesus, can y'all stop making up names?
Didn't Guendouzi hurt Xhaka?
No, it was Pablo Mari.
Training?
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, they just they were running diagonally and crap.
Yeah.
Like,
So Ryan, after this season is over, which has been over for you guys for a while, sorry to say, what needs to change? We need defenders, obviously, because that defense is just Swiss.
Ozil's got to go or he's got to play. Like, we're not playing our best.
But
player.
also it seemed to me that he picked up his level as soon as Arteta got hired.
I think Arteta, maybe he's not in shape. I don't know. He hasn't played the last 2 games, so there's something going on there, and I don't know what it is.
You need to let David Luiz go.
You need a whole new set of defenders, bro.
David's played his last game for Arsenal, so
yeah, that and like pick up what was it, Thiago Silva.
Everybody
pick up Thiago Silva because he's free, and so is Cavani.
Cavani, I don't know.
We don't need a striker.
If you let Aubameyang go, maybe you want to pick up Cavani, but
no, we let Alex go before Alba. I think
they just need to learn to bend it like Beckham.
They do. I mean, Pepe's goal today was fucking sick.
Alex who?
Lacazette.
Oh, you would really?
You got Lacazette, Aubameyang.
I take Alba over Lacazette all day because we got Pepe.
Nicolas Pepe.
So
who scored a sick goal today, but unfortunately wasn't enough.
We need
no, and we just turned off. Like, we just stopped playing, and then
Speaking of that, so Barcelona just kind of gave up. Is that
what happened? We didn't give up. we fucking drew 0-0. So now if Madrid wins out, they win the league.
Yep.
I mean, look, guys, this year is a wash. Like, it's all asterisked. Like, it's not a real season to me. Like, and that's not just because my teams are bad. I'm looking at all the teams. It's not real. Like,
you know what's really going to suck? We have a really high chance to get in trouble because we just clinched the Bundesliga, and it's just not going to feel the same.
I mean, you have
messy.
elite athletes who have not been – they've been in the same system, practicing the same way since they were like 8.
Right.
And this year, all that got broken up. And you expect them to just slot back in and in 4 weeks be back up to their elite form? Like some players, yes. But a lot of them need that fucking everyday training.
Yeah, especially if you're playing 3 games a week, you're going to have to.
There's a difference between like your alertness in practice and your alertness in a game. Like game is just all like this. In practice, you do a couple drills and then you stop and you have time to think and
to analyze it.
Don't have that.
Write it down, right?
Yeah.
Another thing that popped up this week was the Neymar situation. Apparently, he owes money to Barca.
Yeah.
6 million euros.
This one's pretty weird. Yeah, 6.7 million euros.
How though? What happened?
All right. So you remember when he left originally, right?
Right.
We paid him a loyalty bonus, and then like the next week he went to a different club.
Right.
You remember this?
Yeah.
Now we paid him. I think it was like 14 million, right? And we were like, no, and then we held off some of that money. I think we didn't pay him 14 million or some shit like that. We were supposed to give him money. And he was like, no, I need that money. And we said, no, we're not giving you that money because you left.
Right.
It's a loyalty bonus. And you're not loyal because you're gone.
Did you end up giving him the money?
No.
Okay.
It's been like a battle since.
I mean, that's just a contract issue that clearly was resolved.
It was something where like his camp and our directors were like, yeah, let's fix this shit. Like it'll be okay because this is all going on when we're trying to bring him back to the club. Right.
Yeah. So you probably gave it to him like as a concession to get him back, and then it didn't work. Then it didn't work out.
No. It was a situation where he wanted the money ever since he left to go to PSG, right?
Right.
And then we said, all right, in good faith, since like at this point in time you're trying to come back, we will try to figure this shit out. We couldn't do it, so we said, all right, it's fine. Let's just let the courts handle it. They came out this week and said that Neymar owes us 6.7 million euros back of the money that we gave him.
Yeah, he probably violated some other clause in there that required him.
Well, they took it the legal route, so he's gonna have to pay anyway.
Yeah.
But that's pretty funny.
What is 6.7 million to him?
Shit.
Yeah,
that's true. It's awkward though.
No, you guys are never gonna get him back.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are.
Do you actually want him?
Yeah, there's so much tension between him and the club.
Take Coutinho back. Why haven't you taken Coutinho back yet?
The board.
But
the board has tensions with everybody, including
your whole issue this year has been the board, and now you want to bring another guy who's already has problems with the board?
Yeah.
He's complicated. Neymar has always been complicated, and that's why I don't like him.
You tell me that we didn't have the best attack ever when he was there.
With Neymar, Messi, and Suarez.
Oof.
Yeah.
That was
when
sick.
Suarez wasn't biting, folks.
But wasn't that also the same year that we beat you 7-1?
No. So fuck you.
Oh, okay.
Are y'all saying board or Borg, like Star Trek?
Borg.
Board.
Borg?
There's a Borg?
B-O-R.
Wait, Borg? Frog? Fraud? I think we're saying the same thing.
One last thing with soccer before getting
I've never had to tune out this since quarantine. I haven't had to tune out
goes
that
away.
much.
It's only been 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Wait, let me go back to it because we're getting Neymar, and I think Mbappe is going to Madrid.
I don't think y'all are going to play any soccer next year. I don't think anybody is. So I don't think it matters. By the time this is over, Messi will be 48 and
man, shut up.
I'm serious.
And Arsenal will still be trash.
Yes, it will be.
Oh,
that's a
fighting
guarantee.
words.
Yikes.
Oh no, I'm resolved to that. I'm honest about my team, so it's
I'll
fine.
give him that. He's the first one to be like,
you are.
shit.
You are.
Oh snap! Look at who's being honest about their team. Oh snap! I'm just trying to hype it up to some level that I give a shit right now.
Oh, thanks, man.
Right.
Also, Chelsea fucking signed Timo Werner, which I fucking hate because I really like them, but because I just hate Chelsea so much.
Didn't it? They paid like 50?
No, but they're paying him a shit ton.
Yeah, something like that.
Because
It's been rumored for the longest time that he was going to end up in the
Sané's been injured like constantly, so.
Well, Sané's coming to Munich.
Yeah.
So I've hear. That's why you guys need to take fucking Coutinho back. What are you doing?
No, you extended his loan.
I don't even know why we did that. Because he's injured and I just don't like him. But anyway, with that being said,
pissed me off because I wanted us to.
We're not gonna pay for him.
So I wanted to sell him to somebody else.
If Sané comes, we're not gonna pay for him. There's no fucking way. If
I know.
Sané actually seals, we're not gonna pay for him.
We should have traded him for Neymar.
I don't think. You think
do you want Rakitic?
Would? No, I'm good. My midfield is solid, but
Thiago back, and you can have Rakitic.
oh fuck no! You let Thiago go. That is your fucking fault. He ain't leaving.
He wasn't gonna break the midfield at that point in time.
I'm glad you guys are the boards of your team making decisions for you.
Iniesta, he's not breaking through the midfield.
This is not.
That's true.
This is not FIFA
And
2020.
he needed to play, so I feel like we should have just like loaned him out to you guys for like 3 to 4 years.
Who does a loan for 4
Who
years?
does a 4-year fucking loan? Get the fuck out of here.
Hey, look, the idea started.
That is the same as
actually
selling the player.
To be fair, Madrid did give us James for like 3 years. So yeah, I'll take that back. That's all I got. Katie, final thoughts.
Got 2. Number 1, Queer Eye on Netflix is one of the greatest shows of all time.
Yeah,
I just got on board with that.
Did you not watch it back in the day?
No.
Oh,
what's it about?
Dude, this is a life-altering show. I swear to God. Like, the more episodes I watch, the more I'm like, you want to change certain aspects of your life. Like, it's
what's it about?
Shit.
I learned how to put gel in my hair from Queer Eye.
Dog,
back in the day.
This show's on another fucking level, man. I love this shit.
Yeah, it's gay people interacting with straight people and giving them advice. It's
like
fantastic.
fashion advice?
Everything advice, life advice. Like,
oh.
Did you know you shouldn't start in the front of your head to put in gel?
Hang on. Did you just
shit
walk
goes
like half naked in front of me to distract me? God damn it.
I think he just came.
That is like a TikTok or something.
Yeah, that's totally it. I would have dropped everything. She's getting ready because we're ready to go. My second part.
Ready to go where?
We're driving down to DC. Yes, what we got to do. Second thing that I wanted to say was that along the same lines of just a theme for me is that I need everybody to make sure that with all the distractions coming back, we continue to stay right here in this movement. So if you want to be an ally, still, there's a lot of history that you can look up. There's still things that you need to learn. There's still movies, TV shows, books to read. If you want to support, still look at Black businesses, Black-owned banks. Do what you can to support us financially. We have to keep the conversation going. Right now, I'm starting to see it kind of peter off just a little bit, and we can't allow that to happen. I do not need to see another Black man in the street dead before everybody starts thinking about it again. We need to make sure we continue to have these conversations every day with people. And also online, check out the Campaign Zero. They have a list of things that they're looking at that needs to work as far as police reform. Get registered to vote and make sure the candidates that you select are ones that are down with the cause. And if there are no candidates that are down with the cause, and if you're of the age, be that candidate. We need to start mobilizing and getting shit done. And I just want to make sure that we don't go back to square one off this bullshit like we usually do in this country.
And just to follow up off that, when we're talking about elections, we're not just talking about presidential. We're talking
100%.
about you're voting for your prosecutors, for your attorneys general, for your mayors, for the people that actually make those concrete decisions where you live. So make sure you know those elections aren't every 4 years. Sometimes they're every year. So look at every election in your state and make sure your voice is getting heard, because a lot of times those people are getting voted in by the people that realize those elections are going on because they're not widely publicized. So make sure you're aware.
Plugged in.
Make sure you're aware.
I don't want to hear anybody.
If you need to register to vote, the Raiders got a link for you on Twitter.
God damn it.
Yep.
Just
get
Google
it or
plugged in. I don't want to hear anybody talk about. I don't care about politics. Fuck you. Get plugged in. I don't like to talk about this, that, and the other. No, we need to have the uncomfortable conversation. Look, your uncomfortableness is a lot better off than another person dead. So get over yourself.
Don't be selfish.
What's your actual final thought?
Those are my final thoughts.
Oh, yeah, right? You.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Arsenal season's in the trash. Like, I'm excited to watch it again, but nah. We have some really good golf coming up. I don't know. We don't have a whole lot of golf fans probably, but everybody should be watching what Bryson DeChambeau is doing. The kid took the quarantine to put on 35 fucking pounds of muscle.
Damn.
And he's completely reimagined his game, which has always been weird. He's always been.
Are you exaggerating with the 35 pounds, or is that
no,
actually
35 pounds of muscle?
He only did push-ups the whole time then.
Yeah, no, he's been eating. No, he only plays with his irons are all the length of a 7-iron. He's a mad scientist. But last week he came in second. This week he's in second. And this is a guy who won once and then was always like kind of at the back of the pack. So
keep an eye on what's his name again?
Bryson DeChambeau.
DeChambeau. Okay.
Yeah, he's got a cool fucking name too. So
yeah.
I mean, I'm glad to see sports coming back, but we got to do it safely. I see that soccer's doing it safely for the most part. UFC is, and the rest of this country is not. So get your shit together so we can all have our nice shit back, folks.
James?
Wanted to give some flowers to Maya Moore. I don't know how much we've talked about her, but like, how would you equate her to like what she is to the WNBA in terms of like another NBA star is to the NBA? Like, is she like, would you consider like the Michael Jordan of the WNBA?
LeBron, KD, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah,
now,
she's a name that I know. So
yeah, and she's a fucking winner, and she stepped away from the WNBA to fight social injustice, and then I think the person she was fighting for was Jonathan Irons, and I believe he got off.
Yeah, it was with the
recently.
Innocence Project, wasn't it?
Yeah,
wasn't
fairly recency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's just nuts. And the crazy thing is, like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Most people don't. But it's good that you're learning, and it's good that everybody's kind of learning, and these stories are coming out.
Yeah, and like when I saw it, I was like, all right, I need to make sure that we at least discuss it on the pod because it's important.
Good. That's awesome.
I think the Innocence Project is founded by or run by or financed by John Grisham. So that man has been helping. He's been writing books. He's an author, but he has been, trying to get unlawfully jailed people out of jail for the last 20 years, which is why he writes a lot of his books. A lot of his books are about the same kind of thing. People who are in the wrong place at the wrong time, who get, accused of something and then eventually cleared. Just to make, if you're reading about it and you're reading a fiction about it, it tends to stick in your brain that, that's actually something that could happen. So.
Sounds great. Well, as always, follow us, like us, tweet us.
You don't have a final thought?
He doesn't matter.
He doesn't have thoughts anymore.
I don't really have nothing.
He hasn't seen the sun in like 17 days.
But thank you for listening, and then we'll be back next week, I guess.
Yep.
Bye.
Every week until sports are back in full effect.
And we'll stop.
Every week after that.
And then we quit.
And then we're like, shit.
All right, boys.
And if you don't want to watch it,
y'all.
Huh? I said, and if you don't want to watch it on YouTube, you can listen to it on all the other podcasts.
Which we seem to be having an issue. So
yeah, no
we'll
bet.
fix it.
We'll get there.
I'm gonna work on that now.
Don't
all right,
blame
y'all.
us.
Okay, boys. Love y'all. Miss y'all. Take it easy.
Don't miss you guys. Hope to only do this remotely.
And watch Mauricio leaves when he doesn't have to.
I'm leaving too.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Aww.
Kisses.
And also, I have control over the meeting, so goodbye.